Hello and welcome. How are you doing today? I am great. I'm outside. I decided to pack my bag today and grab a little coffee on the way and get outside into my local park. It's not the most lovely day. We've got clouds and it's not too warm, but I don't care. I just love being outside this time of the year. So why not come outside and film a little knit and chat, because it's been a hot minute, hasn't it? I am having a oat latte today. And I had a cannoli as well, which was lovely, but I had to eat that quickly because the bees are starting to come. And I am knitting on my Wild Sea sweater today, which is one of my own designs. It's a new one. I'm knitting it in drops Nepal and then holding it with a strand of kid silk mohair. This is hands down my most favorite yarn combination ever. Actually, if you're curious about this design in particular, I have started a new series on this channel called Knitventures, and I am documenting in real time how I'm designing a pattern from start to finish. So if that sounds interesting to you, you could watch that up next. I'll leave a little link up here somewhere. But yeah, that's what I'm knitting on today in this beautiful little spot. So May means 6 months anniversary of me releasing the Maman sweater, which was the first sweater pattern that I've released. And I thought this is a nice point to just sit back for a moment and reflect and just think about all the things that I have learned in the last 6 months. So I thought I'll chat with you guys about that today while I enjoy my coffee and enjoy my knitting. Okay, let's get into the video. So if you wanted me to sum up the last 6 months in one sentence, I think I'd have to start with, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness. It was the spring of hope and the winter of despair. Obviously that's a Charles Dickens quote, but I think it just sums up so well how the last 6 months have actually been. There were definitely surges of really high hopes and surges of really low despair, wanting to quit it all, but not because I don't like designing, because of many other reasons. I'll get into those later. I always think it's good to sit down after a while and reflect on the things that you've done and the things that you've learned, things that served you, things that didn't serve you. I think reflection is an important part of growth. And so today I sat down and did some reflecting, and I wanted to share 5 things that I have learned about the last 6 months of owning a little design business with you guys. So the first thing that I have learned is that stats do not define your success. I really think that my biggest struggle in these 6 months was the numbers and accrediting so much of my worth and how well I was doing onto growth on Instagram, sale numbers and engagement numbers on Instagram. And I think I got really caught up in the numbers. And numbers are a really traditional sense of measuring success. The more sales you make, the better it is. Higher profit is always what companies are striving for. But I think when you're starting out, that is probably not what you're going to see. I think my story isn't really anything out of the ordinary. I think it's probably the ordinary story of things starting really slow and success coming over many, many months, maybe even years, and not overnight. So getting away from that mindset that only higher numbers mean success was really important for me to A, want to continue, and B, starting to appreciate, and C, also really asking myself, what does success mean to me? And it doesn't mean numbers. Kind of the bottom line of it all was that Instagram just became a massive trigger for me. It just started making me feel anxious and discouraged me and made me feel like I don't want to continue with this. It's such an uphill battle. Nothing is working. So I took some time off and just reflected on what my relationship with Instagram, what I wanted it to be like going forward. What I want to get out of this platform is the community and being not just a creator in that community, but also a participant in it. And that meant that For now, I only view Instagram by clicking on the little logo and then seeing all the people that I follow in my feed. And that to me made a massive change in the way that I engage with the platform now. It's just making me want to engage with people again. And when I personally started focusing on engaging more with people on Instagram, I noticed that there was more engagement of people with me. And that what I actually really appreciated about it was when people commented and said, Maria, I loved knitting your pattern. It was such a joy to knit from. Also with the baby sweater, the bébé sweater, people knit that for their kids, and then it's going to be a hand-me-down for the siblings, and they're going to take pictures with it and look back and think, oh, do you know that day by the sea that we had? And the little knit that mom or grandma or whoever made for them will be a part of their kind of story and a part of their history. And thinking that something that I created and then somebody else created is becoming woven into the fabric of someone's life in that way is just so rewarding, and so that to me is success. That is so wholesome and so wonderful, and that to me is the success of the business. Okay, the second thing that I have learned is that you will make way less money than you think you will, especially in the beginning, I think. And that one to me really stung because I really wasn't expecting that at all. Again, because I was looking left and right and seeing, oh, so many people are doing so well, so naturally I'll do well. Like, I'll at least make my money back in the first week, right? Nope. We're 6 months in and I've not made the money back for even the first pattern. I'm a firm believer that if you want to make a great knitwear pattern, you need to invest in it. I think the absolute bare minimum is one tag edit, but I always have my pattern tag edited twice. Once before the test knit starts so that it's as good as can be for the test knitters. And then the second time after the testers have finished and I've put in all their changes so that I can make sure that anything that I have touched since the first tag editor looked at it is still good and there's no new mistakes, and also just have another pair of eyes look over it to catch as many mistakes as possible. I have actually filmed a video about my experience designing my first knitwear pattern, and I'm talking you through the process, but also sharing how much I spent exactly on every different item in it. So if you want to see that, I'll leave a little link up here somewhere. Just for the maman sweater, it was £355 that I have spent. And since the start of this business, so since November 2023 until now, my combined total revenue that I've made across Ravelry, my website, and also Google AdSense was £168.92. So you definitely need to have a pot of savings somewhere that you can take money from and be very frugal with your spendings. I definitely was quite surprised by how little I have made, and I'm sure I could have made more, but that's just the way it was. And we're working on improving. So yeah. The third thing that I have learned is that a great pattern doesn't mean loads of sales. That kind of ties in with what I've said before, but I really put a lot of time, effort, and all my money really into making these patterns as best as they can be, because that is my end product and I want to make sure that I'm doing the best job that I can with all the knowledge and skills that I have at that time point. And so I think in terms of sales reflecting that effort, I think that will come later, because I think people need to build a relationship with you as a designer. They want to see what you're all about, the things that you're making, what your design language is. Maybe see a few people who've made your projects before to see other versions of it or how it looks on a different body size. So I think this is something that will come with time. But one of my biggest fears and things that I really did not want from the start was getting a reputation for making bad patterns. That really was like one of my top goals when I started. So that's why I invest so much effort, time, money, resources into it, really. And I'm also really open to any feedback or criticism from people about the patterns, the way they look, the way they read, the way that you knit from it. I think there's always a level of subjectiveness with it because we all will have different preferences in terms of how much text we want, how much explanation we want, what's too much. But yeah, any feedback, always welcome. I really do want to make it as pleasant as possible to knit from. The fourth thing that I have learned in the last 6 months is that don't compare your step 1 to someone else's step 45. That really resonated with me because it was something that I was constantly doing and something that was constantly getting me down. And it's just not helpful. I'm at a completely different point in my life than so many of the other knitwear designers in the UK or so that I've compared myself to. At the start of the year, I actually set myself a motto that was be yourself, do my own thing, and don't compare myself to others. And I have that written in my notebook. I actually need to put it somewhere on my desk or in my little work office because it's something I need to constantly remind myself of. I'm not in competition with anyone. I'm just here to enjoy the process and do a good job. And if I can fall asleep at night thinking the pattern that I just put out today has been the best pattern that I can bring out at this moment in time, then I've done a good job and then I'm satisfied. Now, the fifth and last thing that I have learned in the last 6 months is that I have actually never enjoyed anything that I ever did in my life as much as this. And that sounds so cheesy and so corny, but it really is a realization that's come to me in the last sort of few days, reflecting on everything, of how much I really, truly, truly enjoy every little aspect of everything that I'm doing here right now. From thinking of knitwear ideas, getting inspiration, browsing yarns, imagining what they'd look knitted up in a certain pattern, to writing the pattern, even the grading and sitting there and grinding the numbers, then writing the actual thing, trying to express myself clearly, taking the pictures, being creative with it, all the things that I do for YouTube, all the skills that I'm learning, the entire editing process. I truly love every aspect of it. I really have never, ever felt so at harmony with what I do ever in my life. And that is hands down the biggest gift that I've ever given myself and that I have received while starting this business. And yeah, I don't even know what else to say about it. I just need to take a second and not get choked up because it really resonates so deeply with me right now. And there has been quite a shift and change in my life after having a baby and not wanting to return to the career that I had chosen before and feeling so out of touch and so out of place in it. I really felt quite lost and was very unhappy about that kind of part of my life. And as soon as I just sort of like hit the reset button and thought, just don't look and do all these quizzes about what type of job would I be best suited for. Just sit down with yourself, have a think about yourself, who you are, what you really like, and then go with that. And the rest will come. As soon as I opened up to that kind of mentality, it came. And that's where I am today. And I'm so happy. And even though this doesn't pay the bills yet, and I'm in a very fortunate position of where I don't have that pressure, I'm so happy to invest as much time as I can into it and let it grow. And then hopefully one day it'll help pay the bills. And I really kind of feel like I have found the place that I want to be. So let's end it on an equally corny note right there. So yeah, these are the 5 things that I have learned in the first 6 months of owning a knitwear design business. There's still so much more to learn, and I'm so excited to learn all of the new things, immerse myself in new experiences, try out different things, grow as a filmmaker, as a storyteller, and grow as a knitwear designer. And I have so many more goals, ideas of where I can take this. There's a lot of energy and motivation in me right now. So hopefully this will translate into good videos. And yeah, I'm just excited. I'm really excited for the next 6 months, and I want to see what they hold and where they take me. If you have not finished your coffee yet and are still sitting there comfortably with your whip, how about you just keep on watching? I'll leave the link to the Knit Venture episode 1 up there. Episode 2 will be coming not this week, the one after. We're going to be talking about braiding and how I started this little number. But please let me know in the comments what you're knitting on, what you're drinking. I love that interaction in the comments, and I've really been missing it. So please do comment, and I'm excited to talk to you in the next video.